Today we're diving into the story of Karamat Ali Karamat. Now that's a name that, well, it holds a really fascinating contradiction inside of it. And that brings us to a big question.
Yeah, what do poetry and probability have in common? I mean, on the surface, you'd say absolutely nothing, right? One is this world of, hard logic, equations, objective facts, and the other, that's all about emotion, metaphor, beauty. But what's incredible is that one man didn't just live in both of these worlds, he mastered them.
So how is that even possible? How can one person be both of these things? I mean, look at this. On one hand, you've got this super rigorous academic mind, a man of numbers. And on the other, a celebrated artist, a master of words. And we're not talking about hobbies here. These were two separate, very high-level careers. So the real question isn't just, wow, how did he find the time? It's how did one side of him influence the other?
Okay, let's start at the very beginning. Because as you'll see, these two paths, they were woven together right from the get-go.
It's almost like the blueprint for his entire life was handed to him right at birth. He was born in Cuttack, India. And get this, his father was also a mathematician and an Urdu poet. I mean, can you imagine? That kind of environment must have completely shaped his young mind, showing him that numbers and words, they aren't enemies. They're just two different languages you can use to make sense of the world.
All right, so let's dig into the first half of this puzzle. Karamat the mathematician, the side of him that lived and breathed pure logic and proof. His academic journey, wow. It shows just pure brilliance, but also this incredible persistence. So he gets his master's in math in 1958, even wins a gold medal for it, so you know he's sharp. But then, look at this. There's this huge gap. He actually taught for more than 20 years before he went back to get his PhD in 1982. And not just in any field, but in the super specialized area of probability theory.
And just listen to the title of his thesis, Some Properties of Random Equations. I mean, this isn't your high school algebra. This is the deep end of the pool. It's the cutting edge of math, basically trying to find the hidden rules inside systems that look totally random. This complex, analytical world, this is where his brain just lit up. And this wasn't just some academic exercise. His work had a real international impact. I mean, to be cited by a major American mathematician like A.T. Barucha Reed in a landmark book like Random Polynomials, that's the real deal. It proves he wasn't just a professor. He was a serious, contributing mathematician on the global stage. Okay, so while one half of his brain was busy solving for X, the other half was crafting poetry. So now let's flip the coin and look at his other identity, Karamat, the master of words.
And here's the thing. He was doing both of these things from the very start. We're talking 1953, 1954. While he was still an undergrad studying science, he was already writing these really sophisticated forms of Urdu poetry, like ghazals and nazms. So this wasn't a case of a mathematician discovering a love for poetry later in life. No, he was both, right from the beginning, all at the same time.
And this is where his two worlds just slam into each other. He developed this literary theory called Isafi Tanqid, which means relative criticism. See, there was this Western idea that a poem is an absolute thing, but our criticism of it is relative. Karamat came along with his scientific brain and said, no. He argued that the poem itself is relative, and so is the criticism. Nothing is absolute. He basically created a kind of theory of relativity for poetry. How cool is that?
And you know what? People noticed. This wasn't seen as weird, it was seen as his superpower. The literary historian Wahab Ashrafi said that Karamat's deep knowledge of math is exactly what gave his criticism a new dimension. His analytical brain wasn't getting in the way of his art, it was a tool. It let him see literature through a completely new, rational lens.
So, okay, we've got the mathematician, we've got the poet, but maybe, just maybe, his greatest achievement was how he used that incredible, disciplined mind to build a bridge, not just between science and art, but between two entire cultures. And this is where his work becomes truly monumental. See, he was living in the state of Odisha, and he didn't just, live there. He dove in head first. He mastered the local Odia language, he studied its literature, and then he began this incredibly painstaking mission to translate the best Odia poets and novelists into his own language, Urdu. By doing this, he single-handedly opened up an entire world of literature to millions of Urdu speakers. And for that incredible work as a cultural bridge builder, he received the highest honor possible. In 2004, he won the Sahitya Academy Prize, which is basically India's top award for translation.
You know, the famous critic S.R. Faruqi described him perfectly. He called him tireless. And that word, it just captures everything. The passion, the dedication. He wasn't just translating words on a page. He was translating entire worlds, making sure that beautiful art didn't just disappear because of a language barrier.
So, after all that, what does the legacy of a man who lived so many different lives actually look like? Well, as you can probably guess, it's huge, and it's incredibly varied.
I mean, when you just lay it all out like this, the scale of what he did it's just staggering. In every single one of his major fields, math, Urdu literature, translation, he didn't just show up. He made a fundamental contribution and got top-tier recognition for it. Seriously, any one of these rows would be a remarkable life's work for anybody. He did all three.
And if you look at his lifetime of work, you can really see the balance. It's not like he was more of a poet than a critic, or more of a translator than a poet. No, it's all there. Original poetry, really deep criticism, tons of translations, scholarly articles, the whole shebang. And his influence kept spreading too, as his own work started getting translated into English for the rest of the world to read.
And the awards just kept coming, from all sides. The Odisha Mathematical Society honored him for his work with numbers. Urdu academies all over India gave him awards for his work with words. But here's maybe the biggest testament to his impact. His life's work became so important that someone else wrote their PhD thesis about him. He literally became a field of study all on his own.
So that leaves us with this final thought. You know, we live in this age of hyper-specialization, where everyone's telling you to pick one thing, to find your niche and stick to it. But the life of Karamat Ali Karamat is just this powerful counter-argument. It's a reminder that maybe you don't have to choose, that the analytical mind and the artistic soul, the world of probability and the world of poetry, maybe they don't have to be at war. Maybe they can be two halves of one incredible, complete whole. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it?